Why do you want to speak English? I want to ask you that question. I want you to answer that question in your mind. Why do you want to speak English? What's the purpose of learning English? Because you want to travel, because you want to get a new job, because you have to go and study abroad, because you want to meet new people. What's the purpose? In all of those cases and many more, the foundation of speaking English is having conversations. You speak English when you have conversations with people. And a lot of times you have conversations with people that you just met. You have no idea who they are. You are just in an airport and you're sitting next to a person, or you are on a bus, or you are waiting for someone and you have someone next to you and you start a conversation and you use all the words and all the English you have in your mind. The question is, how do you start a conversation in English? It's pretty much like in Spanish, but obviously in English we have to take into consideration the language, the mannerism, the slang, the idioms, the vocabulary, the pronunciations, and a lot of things. So today in our class we are going to focus on how to start good conversation, and not only start the conversation but maintain the conversation. Welcome to class. My name is Alejo Lopera. I am so happy that you guys are here, and we are going to begin right now. So, how to start a conversation, right? So, there are many things that we have to take into consideration, and we're gonna see like numbers to know what the steps of making conversations are. All right. So, number one, how do we start? How can we start making conversation? Well, number one, you give someone a compliment or tie into a question. Tie into a question after you give the compliment. For example, excuse me, that is a very nice sweater. Do you mind sharing where you got it? The other person is going to feel like, oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a very nice sweater indeed. And I got it this, and that. Oh, really? Is it expensive? No, blah, 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 blah. And then you start with the conversation. You can say, for example, I love your hair. Do you have a favorite salon? Oh, yes, I go to, my sister cuts it. Something like that. Your lunch looks delicious. Did you make it yourself? You give a compliment, and after the compliment, you tie it to a question. You bound it to a question. You hook it to a question. So that's a very good idea to start a conversation. You give someone a compliment. Everybody loves compliment. Everybody loves to receive compliments. All right. So that's number one. Number two, you start a general conversation, but make sure you're sharing too. So that it doesn't feel like an interrogation. Because sometimes when you're speaking to someone, you might want to feel like you're asking and asking and asking and asking, and the other person is just responding. So it feels like an interrogation, like you're being interrogated by a cop. But the idea is that you make a question, the other person answers, but then the other person asks questions to you. All right. So let's take a look at this. You say, "How are you?" Right, and you wait for the other person to answer and ask you back. "What do you think about this weather? Have you read any good books recently?" If the person is reading a book, this is a very good way to start a conversation. "What have you been up to since I last saw you?" Well, in this case, it's more like when I know the person, I just want to maintain the conversation, right? Just make sure the other person also talks to you back. This is a very good one. I love this one. Ask open-ended questions. And last class, when I taught you last class, I shared a video about closed and open questions. And we knew that closed questions are answered by a yes or no. But open questions are, so to speak, open to a lot of opportunities and a variety of options. All right. So we could do things like that. Like, do you like sports? Oh, yeah. What kind of sports do you like? Ah, okay. Where do or did you go to college? What is your major? Where was your major? How do you like to spend your weekends? That's a good question because everybody has like a different plan, you know. So that's a good question. Do you enjoy reading? What kind of reading do you do? That's another good option. Okay, number 4, ask if you could only questions. Now, I love this one because it gives you the opportunity to dream, right? Because you're gonna ask questions that I have hypothetically um, conversations. Because most of the times are things that are not real or are not happening right now. But it gives you the opportunity to think like, what would you do if you win the lottery? Oh my God! If I won the lottery, I would buy a house. I would buy, an island. It gives you the chance to speak. So let's take a look at this. Um, what are the 3 things that you would take with you to a desert island? Okay, that's a very tricky question, right? Oh my God. If you can only eat 5 different foods for the rest of your life, what are they? So this gives you the opportunity to enter to a fantasy world, but it will be a very nice way to catch up with someone and just talk about different things. Okay. Okay, number 5, find a common ground. That's a very important. Sometimes when you're talking to someone and you say, for example, yeah, I love the Beatles, and the other person said, the Beatles, I die for the Beatles. Really, what's your favorite? That's a conversation that can last hours because you guys have a common ground. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at this. What kind of music do you listen to? Who's your favorite author? Do you like to go to concerts? Do you like to travel? All those things will seek for information that the other person will share that you will feel comfortable with. And you say, like, I think exactly the same thing that you do. All right. That's number 5. Now, number 6, would you rather? That's another type of English that I love. Would you rather? Would you rather go with your smartphone or without a car for a month? Oh my God, I cannot live without my smartphone, so I guess I would rather my car. Oh, really? Well, I love cars and blah, blah, blah. And then you start the conversation. Would you rather be really busy in a job you love or be able to slack off at a job you're only vaguely interested in? Wow, that's a very complex question, but it will give you ideas and moments to share information with the rest of the people. All right, look at that. Would you rather be the most popular person or the smartest person in your social group? The most popular or the smartest? Sometimes when you are the smartest, you're not the most popular, and vice versa. Wow, that's a good question. And then you start talking to people. All right. Number 7, use the SOFTEN technique to help create a great nonverbal impression. Soften technique. Like, for example, obviously, you need to smile when you speak to someone. When you're trying to make conversation, you need to smile. That's a very good thing. Open up your posture. I mean, don't go like this. Some people go like this when they talk. So what do you want? Or they cover their face like. So tell me about you. And that's not open to possibilities. And the gestures are really, really important when you're trying to make good conversation. Forward lean when you are talking to someone. Um, touch by shaking hands. Eye contact. Sometimes people are just talking and the other person is looking away. That's not good. Okay. Not when the other person talks. I mean, when someone is talking, um, you should be like, yeah, like, you are interested. Like, yeah, you are giving like appreciation for the topic you guys are sharing, right? Icebreakers. Icebreakers. Sometimes you're talking to someone, but the conversation is not going so well, or the other person is kind of enclosured. So you need an icebreaker, something that will make the other person freely speak about anything. And it should be questions easy to respond and not very personal. Not very personal. Like, how much money you make? Oh, no, I'm not going to answer that. That's too personal, right? I'm not going to answer that. But what about these ones? Where did you grow up? Where did you grow up? Everybody loves answering that because everybody loves talking about your hometown, right? What was it like growing up in your family? Are you a cat or a dog person? Do you like to read? Do you like movies? Who's your favorite actor? What's your favorite movie? Oh my God, that's a very good question as well. And of course, there should be some more new vocabulary. Here are some words that I picked up from conversations I saw on YouTube. Words like foster, sever, restore, threaten, build up, undermine. Now, I want you to think about these words and which word do you know about this? Which word do you really know the meaning? Huh? Leave me the comments. Leave me comments. Let me know if you know these words. All right. Okay. Let's take a look at those. Foster is to promote something. Restore, to return to original state. Sever is like breaking up or finishing a relationship. Undermine is make something weaker. Strengthen, make something stronger. And build up is to construct or to grow together. These are new vocabulary. These are new words that you can include in the conversation because you want to feel like you are giving the other person the idea that you are really using a good level of English, and that you guys are going to have a great conversation together. So the idea of today's class was talking about different strategies that we can have. Um, so we can start a conversation strongly and being a good being a good person to talk to. Sometimes you have people who have these amazing lives. They do a lot of things, but they're not good talkers. They have nothing to share. They're not good to have conversations. So I want you to be not only a good student, having a good level of English, but also having a good level of conversation. That people say, I love talking to Alejo. I love talking to him because he's so nice and he's so friendly when he talks. That's the way I think it should be going. All right, guys. Thank you very much for being here tonight, and thank you for sharing your opinions on the comments. Share this video if you liked it, and I hope to see you next class. All right. So take care. Bye bye, guys. See you later, my friends.